Good morning, everyone. It's April 3rd, Friday, Erev Shabbos Hagadol. Just wanted to share a few words with you as we head into our fourth Shabbos of seclusion. In the email below, there is a lot of information. Please make sure you go through it carefully. Sale of chametz. There's a very detailed document dealing with how we should handle Pesach this year as far as scheduling, time, procedures, practices, etc. Again, please, I advise everyone to print it and use it as a guide throughout the entire Chag. And we also have included there is the recording of the most recent Zoom session with Erica Brown, which was held on Thursday, yesterday. And it was really, in my opinion, it was probably the best we've had ever. And the recording is there and the document is there. Again, I would recommend printing that document and using it at your Seder. Plus, at the end of that document, there's a special prayer that she composed, which I think we should all recite at our Seders. I just also wanted to point out the yahrzeits that are being observed this coming week. Justin Bergman is observing the yahrzeit for his mother, Batya Bas Yaakov Avraham. Neil Glad is observing the yahrzeit of his mother, Miriam Perel Bas Shmuel. Andy Hutter observing the yahrzeit for his grandmother, Yenta Bas Moshe. And Jay Feingold is observing the yahrzeit for Simcha Ben Yosef. My apology. I believe that's Carol Hirsch's grandfather, Simcha Ben Yosef, and the Neshama should have an Aliyah. And we'll also share good news, Mazel Tov to Sarah and Evan Schoenfeld on the birth of a baby girl. Shayna Juliet will receive her Hebrew name soon enough. Mazel Tov to big brother Lenny. They like having kids around the holidays. Lenny, of course, was born on Hanukkah, and Shayna now around Pesach. And of course, huge Mazel Tov to Tzipi and Laser Rothenberg on the birth of their second grandchild. You should have only nachas, simchas, and we will celebrate in due time accordingly. Normally, this is Shabbos Hagadol, and Shabbos Hagadol is a time when we have what's known as the Shabbos Hagadol Drasha. Shabbos Hagadol Drasha, I spend many weeks preparing, and we sit down after davening, and we have these big handouts and a lot of source sheets, and we spend about 45 minutes to an hour studying in depth something that has to do with the laws of Pesach, or how to make our Pesach more meaningful. If you remember last year, we discussed the Pa'amon V'Rimon, with the Kohen Gadol, so much so that I think even someone put, I believe it was Jamie Eckstein, put pomegranates and bells on her table. So that was really nice. I started working on this before all the craziness happened, but to give a 45-minute, 60-minute lecture online with source sheets, it's really very confusing. It's very hard to teach in that form to begin with. So I'm going to give just a short, really short version of hopefully an idea. That's something I had started working on based on a halacha that was brought to my attention from my Rabbi J.J. Schachter. And in the laws of Pesach, in Siman Tuf Ayin Zayin in Shulchan Aruch. So if I take out a Shulchan Aruch, yes, it's a really big book. If you want to look at what the page, there's a lot on the page, and the really small print, and the older I get, the harder it is to read the small print. But the halacha discusses the question of what do you do if someone forgot to eat the afikomen. Im shachach v'lo achal afikomen v'lo nizkar ad shenatal yadav. So let's say you finished the meal, and then somebody said, okay, let's bench tzafun barech, but they forgot the tzafun part. So they ate the meal, and they benched, or they started to bench, and they didn't eat afikomen. What should you do? So the Shulchan Aruch paskins, and Shulchan Aruch says, ochal afikomen beis below bracha. Then below birchas hamotzi. And first, if you didn't start benching, they can eat the afikomen. If they already benched, and it's before they said bori priya gafen for the third cup, then you can wash your hands and make hamotzi and eat afikomen. It goes on in all these types of scenarios. If we heard on the Zoom session yesterday, actually, an interesting case, which is right here, what we had, and the Ramah says, Andy Hutter talked about a story with his grandfather. If let's say they already had the cup and they have to eat the afikomen, he says you should re-pour the cup and you should have another cup. And he says, don't worry, we don't care so much about adding on to the cups. In other words, we're only supposed to have 4 cups. If you have none because you did it out of order and you have to do the afikomen, it's not really a problem. And the last line of the Ramah is, V'im never ha'afikomen yochel kazayis echad mimatzah shmur acheres. And if you lost the afikomen, let's say they couldn't find the afikomen, they hid it so well that, or it was forgotten, and then they can't find it. So what do? He says, just take afikomen from a different shmura matzah. Okay, that's the halacha. But what my Rebbe pointed out in the halacha is a commentary in the Ber Heitev, one of the super commentaries on the Shulchan Aruch, and it says, and he says it doesn't matter about, we don't worry about adding on cups. V'im nizkar achar halel yachzor v'yomer halal ala kos. And if you already said halal, so you did the halal portion, so you ate, you benched, you said halal, and then you said, oh, I forgot about afikomen. So what should you do? V'im lo niskar at shasa kos ashlishi yivarach borei. I'm sorry, I lost my place here. Then you say birchas hamotzi bein shlishi l'rvi'i. If you're ready between the 3rd and 4th cup, you should say the bracha of hamotzi. V'lo yachzor v'yishtek kos shlishi, and you shouldn't drink the 3rd cup. Okay. But look at this last line, and this is what I want to point out. V'nohagu lishbor chatichas ma'afikomen v'linkov osa. He says we have a custom to break off a piece of the afikomen. V'linkov osa, to make a hole in it. V'tolin osa, and we hang it up. V'ein bo chashash iser mashenokven osa b'yom tov. And he says, and there's no prohibition. And the Shari Tshuva, another commentary brings this custom, and he says that it's not a problem of bizui ochlin, of embarrassing the food, and he says it's zecher l'tzias mitzrayim. So in other words, after the seder, they would take a piece of the matzah, put a hole in it, and hang it like we would do like a sukkah decoration, and they would hang it. Imagine going to somebody's living room and you have a piece of matzah hanging on the wall, and that would say, okay, there we go, because we want to remember Yetzias Mitzrayim. It's a very unusual halacha, very unusual custom, which I've never seen anybody practice this, but it's brought right here in the commentaries of the Shulchan Aruch. And in this context, I want to share with you something from my Rebbe, Rabbi Wein, something that we read every single year at our Seder, something that my kids could tell you the beginning passages, and they kind of roll their eyes of like, but I guarantee you that when they grow up, they're going to be reading it to their kids, and they're going to be understanding the message. But I think that what the idea is that we have to take something from the meaning of Pesach, the meaning of the Seder, and carry it forward with us. We have to take our experience and what we've gained from it, and we can't just leave it when it's over. We have to move on and take it with us. And here in the introduction to Rabbi Wein's Haggadah, again, I'll point out this beautiful Haggadah from my Rebbe, Rabbi Wein, and he writes about the custom of wearing the kittel at the Seder. I know of no white kittel that emerges from the Seder unscathed and without stains. The wine, the charoses, and the meal all literally leave their work on it. My wife does her very best, and her best is unequaled in all areas of our marriage, to launder the garment after Pesach, and she always succeeds in rendering it 99% spotless. But there's always one trace of a faint stain that refuses to disappear completely. On Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, when I wear the kittel again, this stain, unnoticed by perhaps anyone but me, is of great comfort and inspiration to me. It reminds me of Pesach, of family, of the future, immediate and long range, of generations old and young, of those who are gone and those that will yet be. I can think of no more fitting backdrop for the holiest days of the year. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, for asking godly forbearance and forgiveness and resolving to do better in the future than those thoughts engendered by the faint outline of a Pesach stain on my otherwise spotlessly white kittel. I think this year especially, as we're heading into the most bizarre Pesach we probably will ever experience in our lifetimes. And who would have thought that this is how it would be? But let's find special meaning. And let's take that meaning, let's make a hole in it, and let's hang it up in our dining rooms, or let's hang it on our souls. And let's carry it with us for the rest of the year. Remember how nice everyone is being to one another, how wonderful it is to see people outside, how our families are together. Let's not forget about that when this is over. Let's take a piece of this Pesach and let's take it forward with us wherever we go. So I know this is not our usual Shabbos Hagadol format, and it's a matter of a little sadness to me as well, because it's for 25 years almost I've been giving a Shabbos Hagadol drasha. But that's also something that I'm going to take forward with me, and we will make up for it in other areas. So again, we should have a Chag kasher v'bari v'samech, a healthy Pesach. I cannot reiterate again the importance of social distancing, of not having guests, not having company unless people are immediately in your household. The directives are very, very clear. But that doesn't mean that we can't have meaning. It doesn't mean that we can't have unity. So I wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom, Shabbos Hagadol Shalom, and that we should have a Chag Sameach. And we'll see one another very, very soon.